This is The Practicing Christian, and this week's topic is the King's Own Men, the Intelligent Man Guide for the Practicing Christian. And whatever you have learned or received or heard from me, writes Paul, or seen in me, put it into practice, and the God of peace will be with you. Now, I don't usually read that out, but the two particular elements that are together in what we're looking at today are peace and putting it together, working. How can you have peace if you got to work? You got to put things together. You got to be busy. You got to make sure you've done everything right, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, let's take a look at this and see if we can find something out about it. We need, first of all, to ask what the right questions are in what we're doing. The Christian practice is often a collection of habits. The sort of prayers we say, the way we act at a worship service, how we treat the poor, the troubled, the annoying, and some of these, the habits, serve us well and serve God fairly well, at least. Some less so. Some of them are inherited by us from family or friends. Some are picked up by observing how other Christians act when we're in a new setting with them. But of all the techniques we may use for getting a handle on a given group of Christians and developing new habits of actions among them, nothing beats asking questions. Very important to learn to do that. It doesn't make you look stupid. It makes you look like you're smart and ahead of the game. First of all, people are usually flattered by questions. Wow, he thinks, I know what's going on. Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you do think that. Maybe he thinks he does know what's going on. But it makes him look as if he knows. Also, you can get an idea about how open people are to strangers from the answers that they give you. If a man says to you, "Did anybody ever teach you that?" it implied that all proper Christians act alike, which implies that this Christian doesn't have much to do with other sorts of Christians. It's not usually a promising sign. Many questions have a common class of answers that send clear signals. If a question is like this, do you have an open or closed communion here? This elicits an answer like, you'd better ask the Charlie about that, the minister. It often means I really don't pay much attention to what goes on here because I don't care that much about the place. Because sometimes the questions reveal not ignorance, but a lack of interest. If a question like, do you follow a printed order or a printed service, or do you use a prayer book, gets this sort of reply, why don't you sit down with us and we'll guide you through the steps? It's likely to mean we're delighted when other people come to be with us. When people are asking you, do I do this? Do I use left hand or right hand or whatever? Take them in hand and bring them right on through something else. It means that you're giving an attitude of being caring about them. If a question is like, do you have a men's religious Bible study group here? Answered by, You got to ask the priest. I don't know. That may mean I inherited this faith because of my family came from a pre-given country. I'm not that much of a believer. Also, it may mean, in fact, I'm not very religious. Generally means I'm not a committed Christian. I'm a Christian by family or ethnic group. Doesn't mean that everybody in that room, all those worshipers, are the same way. Some of them are deeply committed people. Check out with some other people. Rather than presuming that the one who answered you is typical of everybody else. If a question comes like, Hal, what Christian path or faith or tradition do you follow? If he yields at something like the only true one, of course, the others are connected, are counterfeit. Christians may make a mockery of Christ. It may mean, that kind of an answer may mean the person speaking to you is very angry about something that is rooted in the family or works or something else other than the faith. It may mean that this church encourages people to demonize other Christians. If the question, how easy is it to become a Christian when you come here, gets a two-part answer like, well, you can always become a Christian and be with us in worship and fellowship. Becoming a Christian is something else. It's a heavy commitment of a beautiful thing, and I've been working at it for years. That's another kind of an answer, isn't it? You have a mature, caring group there when you get that kind of an answer. And perhaps a very worthwhile persons are there in that group. If you get, all you have to do is to sign the book, it may be a hollow experience. All right, after you get a few questions down cold, you begin to appreciate the variety of Christian practice. If you ask the question about the faith or practice given above, you may be surprised to be asked what sports you play. That could be for the reason that that group of Christians sponsors perhaps 12 to 15 teams. I know several congregations that do just that. Such a group of Christians, of Christian men, is always on the lookout for coaches, counselors, and coordinators. So, work with them might help build your chops as a Christian counselor to kids. And you can also work through that showing that something relating to Christ is coming through in it at the same time. A giving, self-emptying love that you take the time to help them find something good and worthwhile in their lives. Don't just look at it as being a superficial thing. That suggests that the questions you ask should reflect who you are. Ask about sports or boating or construction or cars when you meet new Christians. Cars? Yeah. One of the widespread Christian lay ministries around the United States where old cars are put in good shape and given new purpose for the people who have no way to get to work or have a medical problem, and some just absolutely love old cars. Now, some of these works may not survive the new federal program to buy older cars from us, but do you have foreign language skills, the ability to teach dance, a background in aid work, or in helping organizations develop at local levels. Ask questions about these things, which could reveal exciting work that these new men in Christ are doing that might take you weeks or months to discover if you hadn't asked them if they were doing these things. The questions we ask reflect who we are. Most practicing Christians will ask similar questions of us to see what we do for the love of God, rather than just seek good times for ourselves. We're always looking to see how the gifts we've been given by God can give us deep satisfaction by being used in response to God. Other men won't ask the same questions that you do because they have different gifts than you. It's not that they're not interested in you. They have different gifts than you. So as a rule, different groups of Christians, informal, parachurch groups, that is related to religion but not an actual church, service or church groups will have different sorts of people find your good place. You may have figured out by now that asking questions of people and being asked by them is a Christian practice itself. We're not asking people to sit down and shut up and listen to us talk about ourselves, about what we like, about what we want. We're listening respectfully and shrewdly to what they're telling us about their vision of God, of God's kingdom on earth. Then pray, then prayer, and with it, guidance from other Christians. We can make our journey to new places and new people and let our new man in Christ lead us to a fuller, more grace-filled life. Serve then. Be the King's right arm.